Greetings, I'm Reverend John O'Toole, and welcome to the Faery Speaks for You, episode number 35. Can you believe it? 35. We've certainly have come a long way in 35 episodes, wouldn't you say? I don't get a lot of feedback on my shows on whether or not you actually wish to see them or not. You could always give CTSB in Lee a phone call. Remember those old things, the phone call? And say, hey, we want to see more of John and the Faery Speak. It couldn't hurt. Of course, this is for entertainment services. I am not a witch. Just sharing. I am not wearing a black hat. So I will appreciate a little bit of feedback on CTSB or PC TV in Pittsfield or YouTube or wherever it is you get to see my shows from. I think it's kind of a fun show. I consider myself a fairy channel. Channel the energy of the fairy realm and a few others. Particularly this Native American guy that likes to sit on my shoulder every once in a while and kick me in the butt. Whose name I've yet to be able to pronounce. Begins with an S. I don't know. Perhaps someday someone will tell me their name. They tell me their name whenever I ask. I just can't quite understand it. I don't know how that works. I'm on a path just like you. Spiritual path of change. So, as I always ask you to draw your fairy on your fairy card or on a piece of paper or on your tablet or your computer. Just don't use permanent marker on the refrigerator. Not that I don't know anybody who has done that. Can you imagine the person that invented the refrigerator magnet? Can you imagine that one company or that one person that came up with the idea of putting a logo on a piece of magnetic strip or of some sort? Actually, I do believe the initial ones were made out of like metal with magnetic magnets glued to the back side of them. Because now they're different material, but it's kind of interesting when you kind of think about it, that somebody came up with the idea. So we're going to draw 6 cards today, and we're going to see where we go. It's been a couple of weeks. 4th of July was interesting in a lot of different aspects. I got to see some really nice fireworks up at North Adams. I did a nice video of their fireworks. I hope you enjoy them. And we shall see where we go. One more shuffle. Maybe we'll cut the card since I know it's on the bottom of the deck. And we're going to pull up some cards and see what we get. Let's try this one. And how about, not this one, but maybe this one. And maybe this one here. And this one over here. And maybe this one. What does that give us? 5. And we want to do one more. I'm not even going to look at the deck. No, I'm going to look at the deck, and I'm not going to look at that above screen. And we'll go with this one. And we're going to put it out of order, just to make things more fun. Oh, there we go. So we have a fairly large quartz crystal skull as one of my energies of the table. And we have this nice piece of selenite. It looked a lot bigger on eBay. And then we have here is a black onyx crystal skull. And I have a green one that hasn't reappeared. I've put out some feelers for it, but so we are using the Fairy Oracle by Brian Fraud. It's a really good book. It's got a lot of interesting information about the energies of the different cards. And then I've read the book, and I've created a cheat sheet of information about each card so I can use it to help discern the energies. And then we just kind of figure out where it goes. If anything, it's fun. You could be watching some political show right now, but instead you're watching me, and I appreciate your attention. At least you're not yelling at me. At least I hope not. So our first card is a vertical card number 8. One of the Singer cards. The Singer of Courage. And it's a vertical card. And as I've mentioned before, I feel like the Singer cards are kind of a representation of our chakra system. You can kind of see the different chakras in that straight line going down. Now this card was a vertical card. The Singer of Courage. we go. Bravery, sublimation of fear, moral strength. Interesting. If this card was in reverse, what are you really afraid of? What could you do to open up your heart of courage? So you can think about that. Bravery, sublimation of fear, moral strength. It's a very cool card to pull first. I probably shouldn't be sitting in front of the air conditioner. Maybe I should have turned it off. Look at a little chilly of a breeze blowing here. We have the Piper, who's a reverse card. And the Piper, it's kind of like that. But this card was in reverse. So the Piper, music, order, harmony, seduction, and empathy. But in reverse, someone is memorized, lost in a dream, stagnation, so vague and diffused. Kind of the way you think that the world is right now, depending on your point of view from the political scope and other things. For example, I'm Reverend John O'Toole. When I fill out a registration form online, Reverend is not an option. Maybe doctor's not an option too. But it or they is an option. I'm a little not bothered, but I just find it rather confusing. So that's the Piper. Did I show you the Piper? I'll put the Piper over here. We should have put it over here before. I forgot. So, the Piper. Music, order, harmony, seduction, and empathy. But it was in reverse, so someone is memorized, lost in a dream, stagnating and vague. Interesting. Now this one is called Indie, number 65 or 63. 3s and 5s are very similar. Indecision, wishy-washy, commitment, decision-making. Well, that's interesting, because even though it's a vertical card, it kind of matches the Piper. memorized. Piper was in reverse. If it was in reverse, it would be hesitate while you question. Make an informed decision when all the correct information is available. Well, I think that statement should be a vertical statement or a general statement, because you definitely want to wait till you get all the information before you make a decision, because usually when you make a decision out of emotion, it usually is not the right one. And I think you could probably pretty much agree with me on that one. Indecision, wishy-washy, commitment, and decision making. Well, that sounds very much like what the Piper's talking about, and keeping people in a daze. Isn't it funny how the cards have a certain representation to them? That's why when we pull the death card, you can't think it has anything to do about death at all. Not that the next card was a death card. Next, the Alchemist. 27. Alchemist. Number 27, if we're following at home. Nels, the Alchemist. Inner transformation, irrevocable change. If this was in reverse, you may be getting into Nell's way of doing her work. Which is interesting in itself. Inner transformation, irrevocable change. Very interesting indeed. And I saw comments today or news about Cuba and they're protesting for freedom. And I wonder if they know that freedom takes responsibility. Just like it does here in this country. The Pook. I was going to say the Mook. I don't think we have a card called the Mook. Number 60. This card was also in vertical. We've had a number, most of the cards have been vertical so far except for one. Usually it's the other way around. Kind of funny, isn't it? The Pook. Oops. Sorry, I had a brain freeze. That's the Pook. shape changer, good into bad, bad into good, the paradox, and the resolution. If it was a reverse card, there is a paradox that can't be solved, reorganized, and patience for new information. Isn't that interesting? How all these cards, these are just 6 random cards out of a deck. Or are they so random? And they all have very similar connections with each other. Shape changer. Good into bad, bad into good. Paradox, resolution. Now the paradox is you have a left side of information or opinion and a right side of information and opinion, and you have to look to the middle position to come up with a solution. Because if you choose this side, then you're going to go in one direction. If you choose this side, you're going to go in another direction. And it may not be what you wish to have in the end. You have to look at this side, have some patience, look around at it, study it, do the same thing for this side, study it, wonder it, hold it. You know, it's like if you have, you know, ingredients for a cake in one hand and ingredients to the right. And if you make a cake without one side, it's not going to come out right. You forget your eggs and you have flour, what do you have left? Flour, no eggs. Very interesting indeed. And our last card is number 26. Some people might say this card is me. Last time I said the card looked like me, I probably got myself into trouble. Oh, that gnome. Number 26. Look at that. He's kind of a grumpy dude. You have to get to know him before you find out that he's really a fun dude. She's kind of me. You know, you need to spend time with me to find out my real personality. You can't judge me by initial meeting. Number 26. Oh, that gnome. Trickster, creative chaos, wild gifts, breaking habits and patterns. Wow, that's me. I just don't have the pointy hat. Or the long beard. Can't quite understand the long beard thing. Eating ribs can get quite messy. Trickster, creative chaos, wild gifts, breaking habits and patterns. Well, there you go. In the beginning, we talked a lot about courage. The Singer card, which was open, the chakra system is open for you to have the courage to do what you wish to do. Then we have the Piper, and and people are kind of in a fog. And then we had number 65, Indy. Was 65? Feel free to shout it out. Oh, not 65. 63. Wishy-washy commitment decision making. Well, you know, indecision is looking at the paradox, the left and the right side. People think, oh, you're being wishy-washy. Why can't you make a decision? I said, well, I haven't gotten all the facts yet. I have to think about it just a little bit longer. There's nothing wrong with that. I suppose if you had to respond to get yourself out of danger, you don't want to be wishy-washy. Driving in the car, you may not want to be wishy-washy. Maybe pull over to the safe side of the road and look at a map. We don't even carry maps anymore. Number 27, Nels the Alchemist. Inner transformation and change. And there we go. We managed to go another half hour. Wonder what'll happen next week. Or next time. It may not be next week, but it may be next time. Feel free to send some feedback along. Maybe you don't want to see me anymore. Maybe you think my channel is a waste. Just to be kind. It's always nice to be kind. But until next time, the fairy is speaking for you. And you and you and you and you and me too.